I'm Mike Bradner, and this is Capital Views, and we have with us today a Senator Begich and Senator Tom Begich, but we've had quite a number of Senator Begiches around. So welcome, Tom, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Tom Begich, and it is true my father served in the Alaska State Senate from 1963 to 1970, and then of course was our U.S. House member. And I think y'all know my little brother, Mark Begich. That was a different Senate. You know, he served in a larger body than this one. But I was born here in Alaska, and spent my life working on public policy issues. I'm also a professional musician, but I do a lot of work in education issues, juvenile justice issues, delinquency issues, and have a pretty decent understanding of both rural and urban Alaska, which I hope will be of some benefit here to the legislature.
And your spouse, she also works in
education issues. My brilliant and lovely wife, Sarah Sledge, who is the director of the Coalition for Education for Education Equity, and she does a great job. And
now, who does that all include?
Oh, that's a number of entities. It's school districts, it's teachers, it includes superintendents, teachers, and GCI is a member, Coconut Tribal. It's an open membership of people concerned about the future of education in Alaska. So they're looking at, what are we doing to adequately ensure our kids have adequate educational experience, so they graduate with the ability to either go on to college or to move on to meaningful vocational careers. And they also watch construction and ensuring that our school construction is balanced so that rural schools are being built alongside urban schools.
Now, you have, a lot of experience. You're not really new to government. I mean, you've been working at it from the outside, but give us your perspective on this session and what we have to do, what we have to accomplish.
Well, I guess I'd start by saying I'm fairly confident that the bulk of the senators and the House members understand the gravity of the situation we're in. I think that there is a underlying majority in both bodies that believe we have to resolve what the governor is now calling the budget crisis. And I think one of the keys to that is ensuring that we have a mixed plan of some targeted cuts that I know that people are talking about. The minority in the Senate and the majority have talked about different versions of that, but also ensuring that we revisit how we provide subsidies to three of the largest corporations in the world, and re-examining our oil and gas tax structure. I know that there's an interest in broad-based taxes. The Senate majority recently did a survey of about 7,000 Alaska residents, which showed 54% supported an income tax, 57% were okay with the sales tax, and 70-some% were supportive of education funding. So these are really critical numbers to put on the table. But then we also have to look at how we address the earnings reserve, how we appropriately use an earnings reserve while also protecting the dividend. So I think we're all talking about the same 5 things. And Senator Hoffman pointed out to me recently that we really need to focus on the revenue answers and not so much our budget debates, but the revenue answers, because the budget debates are meaningless if we don't resolve the revenue questions.
In this mix, everybody has to give up some druthers. I mean,
well, sure, no one's going to be happy. I would argue that if there are a lot of happy Alaskans out there after this session, then we have failed to do our job. If there are a lot of unhappy Alaskans out there, then we've probably done our job.
So what do you personally have on the plate?
Well, the primary reason I'm here is I really believe that we have to resolve the budget issues, and so that's primary for me. But following that, obviously what we do around issues of education and energy, those are very important to me as well. In our office, we have adopted a strategy of energy education innovation. And what we're really talking about with that is what can we do to lower the cost of energy in rural Alaska in particular, because that's destroying rural Alaska. In urban Alaska, service economy feeds rural Alaska, and rural Alaska feeds the urban areas. So it's a symbiotic relationship that we have to maintain. So lowering the cost of energy in rural Alaska is critical, ensuring that we have an adequate education system that actually does work for our kids. So I'm going to be proposing legislation related to pre-kindergarten, pre-K, voluntary universal pre-K. I'm hopeful over the next 3 years or 2 years that we adopt that kind of a model.
And that means the state supports that education on the local level.
That's correct.
I mean, there's some who may be offering that now on optional. They have to pay.
We have limited options. Some offer it through their own school districts now. They pay for it. There's about $2 million that's offered on a regular basis from the state for target projects, that kind of thing. And those experiments have shown that it's working. It's the one thing that seems to be working, in particular in rural Alaska and our less effective school districts. The pre-K seems to be having results that we're beginning to measure at third grade and beyond that shows that it's having an impact on our kids. And if we do that, then we're talking about changing the whole equation of how we learn and how we create model citizens in the state of Alaska. I think pre-K is the answer.
Tom, we're out of time, and this has been Capital Views. I'm Mike Bradner, and we've been talking to Tom Begich, a new senator to Anchorage. And welcome, Tom.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, and I'm glad you're doing this.